Yeah, I think when we made the deal with the Rays, we put a couple different contingencies in. We're still working through some final details, but hope to have some clarity on that within the next 24 hours or so. No, I don't not to get into any details. I think again, like when we made the trade, with with the players that were involved. I don't really expect anything to change between now and when we finally move forward. But we've got to just finish the process up and go from there. No, I mean I think from our standpoint, like again, for us, I think just want to make sure everything's straightforward. I think there are a few final questions that our medical group's got to look at that I'm looking at, and we'll communicate with the Rays here, and go forward and look to have Tommy as part of our club. Yeah, I think it's been an area that I think it's been an area we've had a lot of interest from other clubs. We feel we have two really good young catchers with Frankie Mejia and Austin Hedges. Hedgie, obviously one of the best defensive catchers in the game. Frankie, a guy that we feel like brings a lot to the table, offensively and defensively. We made the deal with Austin Allen, but behind that we have catching depth in the system. Luis Terrenz had a great year last year at AA. He'll be a guy that had a year of experience as the Rule 5 pick in the big leagues, and he'll be kind of knocking on the door again for us, and depth throughout the system. So I think you can never have enough catching. I think we always look at that, but it's an area where teams have been hitting us on, and we'll see how it plays out here in the next few weeks. Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that we've talked about already. It's going to be an area for us that to address with Jurickson last year. He's talked to us as a physical thing, as a mental thing. I think as he gets into January, starts getting more into baseball activity, we'll start having our coaching staff, Jace, Bobby Dickerson, start spending more time with Jurickson. Jurickson can do a lot of things. I think for us, we've seen him play the left side of the infield. We've seen him play the outfield. He gives you a quality at bat. The issues over at second base next year, we're gonna do our best to work with him and feel like it's something that he can get to a spot that he's a solid defender, and I think we feel like that he's it's something we can address. We can get him to play good defense for us, get him to make good throws for us, and have him be able to play all over the field and play second base for us next year. Yeah, I think it's gonna. I think for us, it was honestly like a phone call post trade, and just asking about him. He says a little bit of combination of both, and I think we'll get into it when we get into spring training, kind of see where it goes. I think we have some people on the baseball side feel like there's some physical things we can help him with, and that'll be a conversation between us and Jurickson as we go forward.
How do you view the rotation options that you have versus the desire to maybe add more starting pitchers?
Yeah, we feel good about the pitchers we have in house right now. I mean, I think I think for us, we've talked about having depth and quality, and we're getting closer to that point. I think when we started on this process 3 or 4 years ago, talked about being an organization that has a lot of homegrown options, develop starting pitchers. We've seen whether it's Joey Lucchese, Eric Lauer, come up a couple of seasons ago and take the ball and make starts for us. Obviously, Chris Paddock last year, had a really had a solid rookie year. Denilson Lamet over the course of the last couple of seasons, with the TJ in between. And then Garrett Richards coming back. We feel like we have some real options, and I think the exciting part for us is we feel like we have a lot of options coming through the system that we're going to rely on, we're going to count on, and I think again, we're always open to talking about trade free agents on the starting pitching front, but honestly, I think we feel really confident with the group we have, and expect a lot of that group, and I think a lot of the success for us over the next few years probably be dependent on how well we are and how well we do developing those starters that we feel good about here the last few years.
How do the guys like Gore and Patino affect your strategy this offseason, knowing that they might be coming?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to have to force their way onto the big league roster. So I think you never look to hand over a major league job or a major league opportunity. They're talented. We know they have real ability and front of the rotation type ability. They're going to have to show us when they're ready. And I think the nice thing with both of those pitchers, with Luis and with McKenzie, they're competitors and they're hard workers. So, we'll put challenges in front of them for the offseason, things that they need to do if they're ready to pitch in AA or AAA, and we'll do the same for them if they're going to get to the big league level. But I think we'll we'll have them in the back of our mind, but they're gonna have to force their way on the big league club if it's in the 2020 season at all this year. No, I mean I think honestly we've been active so far. We've made 3 trades and in the free agent signing with Drew Pomeranz. So I think we've been pretty targeted on guys that we wanted to line up on, and I think you come to the winter meetings. Some years we've been aggressive here and been able to line up on trades. Some years we've had a lot of conversation here. I think in 2015, and then made a ton of moves after that. Other years, in last year we're looking at Manny Machado in February. So I think we just focus on being prepared, looking at things that line up for us. Also in the winter meetings, things change pretty quickly. Free agent signing, somebody goes off the board, all of a sudden you get a phone call about one of your players, and that leads to a conversation that you haven't even, looked at over the course of the last few years, last few weeks. So I think for us, we're prepared. It's fun to be around, our baseball operations group and team, have everybody in one spot. It's fun seeing, other people from other clubs. But we'll see how the week plays out. If we get something done, great. If not, we'll keep moving through the off season. Yeah, Tommy, I think a few things that our scouting group really talked a lot about with Tommy. I think on the field, competitive at bats, the ability to impact the game in multiple ways. A guy that can steal a base. Obviously hit a ball in the gap, hit a ball over the fence, and get on base via walk, which we've struggled with here in the last few years. And I think off the field, the competitive nature that he has, the fire. The fact that he went to a Rays team that at the time was playing 500 ball, and the next year and a half they played they played championship baseball, at least playoff baseball. I think all those things were really attractive for us, and why we targeted him in the conversations with Tampa.
Time for 2 more questions.
Yeah, I mean it's a spot in the game right now. There's not a ton of production in the game, so that bar has been it's been set kind of low. I think for us. I think we had those conversations with A.J at the end of the season. He's going to work really hard going into next year. We know he's a better offensive player than he showed here this season. So, again, I think for us, what that ends up being, what that number is, we feel like we have a chance with the 2 catchers to have a plus combination, both offensively and defensively. And it's kind of hard to sit there and say, hey, does that mean a certain on base, certain slug? Internally we'll talk about some of those things. I think it's just seeing productive winning at bats, and on the defensive end from the catching side, that's the most important part of it for us is the ability to connect with the pitchers, ability to field their position, handle the staff, handle the baseball, block the baseball, and control the running game. We're going to continue to focus on that, expecting more offensive production here this year from the combo.